Now, welcome to today's class. Today I have a very good topic of study. Today I want us to look at that is linear algebra 1 as a unit, and specifically I want to specialize on getting the determinant of a 4x4 matrix. Now with me here I have a 4x4 matrix, and I want to show you the best way you can use on getting the determinant of a 4x4 matrix. Now I've been told to get the determinant that is 5, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, negative 2, negative 5, negative 7, negative 3, 9, as well as 1, negative 2, negative 1, and finally that is 4. Now, how can I perform the determinant on this 4x4 matrix? Remember, it is a 4x4 matrix. 4x4 matrix. Very important. 4x4 matrix. Now, for you to get the determinant of a 4x4 matrix, you are required to use a general method on concerning rows. Now, you are required to come to where, for instance, you will begin from the first value here on the provided matrix. Then, to begin that, let me just write solution, then I'll show you, because that's what I want to look at. Now, I was saying that you just begin with 5 here, then just start at 5. After starting at 5, you are required to be deleting those rows and columns where 5 belongs, or those rows and columns where 5 falls in. Now, for instance, here, when I look at 5, the rows and columns they are falling in is this row as well as this column, and therefore you are supposed to delete them. Then you write the remaining matrix. That is it. So when I delete this row here as well as this column here, because 5 lies onto them, I'll end up by remaining with this matrix, and it will be a 3x3 matrix. I think you understood that. Now after that, that's what I should be writing here. So to get determinant, I've told you that I begin with 5, then you put a bracket there. After deleting, you will end up with a 3x3 matrix, that is 3, 1, negative 2, negative 7, negative 3, 9, negative 2, negative 1, 4. So that's what I write here. So it will be 3, that is 3, sorry. Let me write it very well so that you can see it with ease. So that is 3, 1, negative 2, as well as negative 7, negative 3, 9, and finally we have negative 2, negative 1, as well as 4. Then you put a big bracket that way. Now after that, you are supposed to move to the second value, that is 4. Now on moving to 4, the slogan should be this way. Remember the first that is a sign and under this 4, that is 5, sorry. The sign under 5, we normally begin with a positive. So you begin with a positive, then the second value or the second sign must be a negative, then you move to a positive, you move to a negative. So it goes that way depending on the matrix you are provided with. So you begin with a positive, negative, and it goes that way. And therefore, since here is a positive, I'll be moving to a negative. So I'll come here and write negative 4. Yes, don't say that 4 is a positive here. The rule is you move from a positive, negative, even if it is not a negative, but the sign, irrespective of the sign under 4, the sign here must be a negative. That's why we've written this negative here. Then after that, I'll now come here and begin cancelling the rows and columns where 4 lies. So I'll come here and stand at 4. Then as you can see, it lies on this row here as well as this column here. So when I delete the search, I'll remain with 2, negative 5, 1. So you will write that column here, 2, negative 5, 1. Then remember I've deleted this, so I'll come here and write the remaining, that is this and as well as this. So I'll come here and write 1, negative 3, negative 1, as well as negative 2, 9, and 4. Yes. Now after that, you shall have gotten the matrix that remains under 4. Now after that, I've told you that the sign is positive when we move to 2. Then now you just write 2, put a big bracket, then go to 2, then cancel the rows and columns where 2 lies. So I'll come here and start at 2. Then as you can see here, the row 2 lies is, that is 5, 4, 2, 1. Then the column it lies is 2, 1, negative 3, negative 1. And therefore when I cancel the 2, I'll remain with the 2, 3, negative 2, negative 5, negative 7, 9, 1, negative 2, as well as 4. So that's what I write here. So you'll just come here and write, that is 2, 3, negative 2, that is negative 5, negative 7, as well as 9, 4, negative 2, as well as 1. Now after that, remember, these are positive sign. I've told you after a positive, I move to negative. So I'll come here and write a negative. Then I move to 1 here. So when I move to 1, it will now be negative 1. Remember, I've placed that there negative. So I'll put a bigger bracket there. Then I move to where 1 is. Then I start cancelling. Now when I come here, the row 1 lies is 5, 4, 2, 1. Column is 1, and 2, 9, 4. So when I delete the 2, I'll end up having this 3 by 3 matrix. That is 2, 3, 1, negative 5, negative 7, negative 3, as well as 1, negative 2, negative 1. So that's what I write here. So 2, 3, 1, as well as negative 5, negative 7, as well as negative 3, then finally 1, negative 2, then negative 1. Now friends, after reaching there, you will have simplified your work, and what remains is very simple, is now to get the matrix, that is the determinant of the matrix within the bracket. Remember, the matrix within the bracket is a 3 by 3 matrix, all of them, because when I see this is a 3 by 3, 3 by 3, 3 by 3, 3 by 3. So all are just 3 by 3 matrix. Now, under 3 by 3 matrix, remember, I've told you that there's several methods you can use on working out the matrix under 3 by 3 matrix. Like number 1, you can use repeated order method as your simplest way. So when you use that is a repeated order method, you shall just write the matrix the way it is, then you just repeat it. Now you can see that the matrix, they are somehow several, and therefore dealing with them at once might consume a lot of space. Now to avoid that, I may just intend to start with these 5 into this matrix, then I work it out, then I move to these others, negative 4 together with the matrix, work it out, I move to this, work it out, I move to this, work it out, then I now add the result. I think that one will enable you to work out minus any confusion. So I'll now begin with the 5. So I'll come here and write, that is 5, then I put a bigger bracket, 3, negative 7, negative 2, 1, negative 3, as well as negative 1. Finally I have 2, negative 9, sorry, it is 9, as well as 4. So your work is just to get the determinant of that matrix. So how can I get the determinant of this matrix? I've said that you can use a repeated order method that states that you just repeat the matrix. So I'll come here and write 5, put a bigger bracket, then write the matrix the way it is, that is 3, 1, negative 2, as well as negative 7, negative 3, 9, then finally negative 2, negative 1, then I have there 4. Then you just repeat it, you come here and repeat it, that is 3, 1, negative 2, then I have negative 7, negative 3, 9, and finally I have negative 2, negative 1, as well as 4. Now after that, you are supposed now to make diagonals. So when I come to the first value here, you are required to move to the first value on the matrix before repeating, then you make a diagonal. So you will come here and probably make the first diagonal. So when I come here, I'll make my diagonal that way. So you will name it as first diagonal. Then after that, you are required to move to the second diagonal, that is the second value here. Make a diagonal. So when you move there, I'll stand at that is 1, then I make that diagonal. So I'll come and make it that way, name it as a second diagonal. Now after that, you move to the third value, make the third diagonal. So I'll come here and move to the third value as provided that way, then I make the third diagonal, then you just name it as a third diagonal that way. Now after that, you are supposed to move oppositely, then just stand on the third diagonal, the value on the third diagonal, then make the diagonal opposite to the diagonals you are making. So you, in this other case, we shall be making our diagonals moving this way. So I'll come there and make the third diagonal there. So this is my third diagonal. Then we move to the second digit, that is the second value is 3. Just move to 3, then make a diagonal there. You can see the diagonal, name it as second diagonal. After that, move to 1, because the 1 is the next value. So you just stand there, then make the first diagonal. Now after that, you are required now to come and work out the first, second, and third diagonal. After working out the first, second, and third diagonal, in this case, add them, then you get the you subtract the summation of the first, second, and third diagonal on this side. That is it. So I'll now come here and say that this one shall be equals to my 5. I put my 5 that way. Then I now begin. Now when I begin here, I have 3. The first diagonal is 3 by negative 3 by 4. So 3 by negative 3 is negative 9. Negative 9 by 4 probably is negative, that is 36. So that's what I will be writing here. So negative 36. Now after that, you move next. My next is now the second diagonal, and I've told you that you are supposed to be adding, yes. So when you come here, I have 1 times 9 times negative 2, that is 9 by negative 2, that is negative 18. So I'll come here and write negative 18 there. Then the third diagonal here, I have negative 2. Then I have, that is after negative 2, I have negative 7. This one is negative 7, as well as negative 1. So when you take, this one is 7, let me write it well. So when you take negative 2 by negative 7, that is probably 14. 14 by negative 1 is negative 14. So that is negative 14 there. After working out that, you are required to make a bracket that way. Then you put a different sign, that is subtraction. Come here, begin a bracket. Then you move here now to this first, second, and third diagonal. Remember, you work out the first, second, third diagonal on this side. Now move to the other side. Now the first diagonal is 1 by negative 7 by 4, and 1 by negative 7 by 4. Negative 7 by 4 is negative 28. So I'll come here and write negative 28. Then the second diagonal is 3 by 9 by negative 1. So 3 by 9 is, that is probably 27. So 27 by negative 1 is negative 27. So I'll come here and write negative 27. Then lastly, the third diagonal here, I have negative 2, negative 3, negative 2. So negative 2 by negative 3, that is 6. So 6 by negative 2, that is negative 12. So I'll come here and write negative 12 there. Now after that, put a bigger bracket there to show that 5 affect everything in the bracket. Now after that, I now come and work out my result. So from there, you can just even use your calculator, display everything on your calculator, then get the answer. So when I solve this one, probably negative 36 minus 18, because negative outweighs this positive here, then I have minus 14, probably I'll be having negative 68, so I'll be having 5 into that is negative 68. Then when I come to this side here, I have negative 28, so that's what I start with, negative 28 minus 27, then I have minus 12, I'll be having negative 67. So negative 67 is the content within this bracket, and remember there's a negative here, so negative in this bracket cancel with this negative to become a positive, so I'll come here and write a positive 67 here. Now when you take negative 68 plus 67, you will end up by having negative 1. So when you take negative 1 by 5, you will end up by getting negative 5. Now when you work out that, you will have gotten the first side, this side. Then I've said just move to the second side and do the same way as you've done here. So the second part I have now, that is negative 4, put a bigger bracket, then write the content, that is 2, 1, negative 2, as well as I have negative 5, negative 3, 9, as well as I have 1, and finally 4. Then as I have told you, we were using repeated repeated order method, and I've told you to avoid doing the same, repeating the same concept in the next step. I may tend to come here and repeat the matrix. Yes, so I'll just come here and repeat it. So this one is 2, 1, negative 2, so I'll come here and write 2, 1, negative 2. Then this one is negative 5, negative 3, as well as 9, so negative 5, negative 3, you can see, as well as 9. Then lastly I have 1, negative 1, 4, 1, negative 1, as well as 4 there. Now after that, I've told you that you just make diagonals, so just take your ruler, then begin making diagonals. So I'll start from the first value, make a diagonal there. So when I stand there, I'll be making my first diagonal in that manner. So I'll come here and write my first diagonal, move to the second value, do the same. So my second value here is 1, so I'll come here and make a diagonal that way, name it as my second diagonal. Now after that, move to the third value, that is a negative 2, make a diagonal, so it will be negative 2. Let me stand there, I make a diagonal that way, so that is my third diagonal. Now after that, ensure that you rotate that your calculator in a manner that instead of it making diagonals going in the same way, direction as we've done here, it now you just make it to be oppositely. So I'll come here now and stand at the third diagonal, that is negative 2, make a diagonal that way. So the way I've mentioned that, name it as the third diagonal. So this one shall be my third diagonal. Now after that, move to the second value. After the third value, move to the second value, that is 2. So at 2, you will just come there, make that diagonal that way. So name it as the second diagonal. Now after that, just move to the third value. The third value after the second is 1. So move there, make a diagonal. Name it as first diagonal. Now after mentioning that, your work is now to come and now get the product of the first diagonal, add it to the product of the second diagonal, add to the product of the third diagonal, work out the summation. Then we now come to the second side, first, second, third diagonal, do the same. Then we shall get the difference, and we shall have just done the way we've done up there. So this one I'll now come and say now it is negative 4, bigger bracket. Now let's come to the first diagonal. Now the first diagonal here, I have 2 by negative 3 by 4. So 2 by negative 3 is negative 6. By 4 probably is negative 6 by 4 is negative 24. So I'll come here and write negative 24. Then now come here. The second diagonal, get the product. 1 by 9 by 1 probably is 9. So I'll come here and add 9. After that, you just move to the third. So it is negative 2 by negative 5, that is 10, by negative 1 is negative 10. So I'll come here and write negative 10 there. Then just put a smaller bracket that way. Then you subtract. Now move to this other side, the first diagonal. So it is 1 by negative 5 by 4. So negative 5 by 4, that is negative 20. So that is negative 20 there. Move to the second diagonal, get the product. So it is 2 by 9 by negative 1. So 2 by 9 is 18, by negative 1 is negative 18. So negative 18 there. This sign is very important there. Then lastly, move to the third diagonal. It is negative 2 by negative 3. Negative 2 by negative 3 is 6. By 1 is just 6. So I'll come here and write plus 6. After that, put a bigger bracket to show that negative 4 will affect everything in this bracket. Now, after doing that, you are supposed now to work out the content within the bracket. So I'll come and say that negative 24, when I take negative 24, then I add 9 plus 9, then I subtract 10, I'll end up by having negative 25. So it is negative 4 in bracket negative 25. When I come to this other side, I have negative 20, remember, then I subtract 18, finally I add 6. I'll end up by having negative 32. And remember, I have negative here, so this negative is what is here. But since I have gotten my bracket here to be negative 32, I must ensure that I include that negative. Then I now close that bracket. Then finally, you just display negative by negative is positive. So it's the same as when I'll just taking negative 25 plus 32 probably is 7. So when I take the content here is 7, then I multiply by negative 4, I'll get negative 28 as my answer concerning getting the determinant of the second matrix as I've shown you there. Now after that, you are required to move to the third. Remember, I've done with this, I've done with that, as well as I've done with this. So just move to the third. It is now 2, just write it the way it is. So that one is just 2. I'll come here and write 2. Put a bigger bracket that way. Then now write the matrix, that is 2, 3, that is negative 2, that is negative 5, negative 7, as well as I have 9. Then lastly I have 1, negative 2, that is 4. After that, I'm required to get my determinant here. Just use the same approach as I've shown you. By repeated order method states that I just write 2. Then after that, I write the matrix the way it is. So I'll come here and write 2, 3, negative 2, that is negative 5, negative 7, as well as that is 9. Then finally 1, negative 2, 4. Then because it is repeated order method, I repeat it. So it is now 2, 3, negative 2, that is negative 5, negative 7, 9. Finally I have 1, negative